As the year draws to a close, it is a time to commemorate those we have lost in the last 12 months. Here's a look back at the lives and careers of those from the worlds of music, film, TV, fashion, sport, royalty, politics, and business who we've said goodbye to. David Crosby, one of the most influential rock singers of the 1960s and 1970s, American singer-songwriter David Crosby co-founded both the Byrds and Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young, later Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of both groups, and also released several records as a solo performer. Crosby died at the age of 81 following a long illness with his wife, Jan, saying in tribute, "Although he is no longer here with us, his humanity and kind soul will continue to guide and inspire us."
Yeah. And we'd be doing that, or we'd be watching movies out here in the office. I want it legal because I know I was in prison with guys who were in there for...
British rock legend Jeff Beck rose to fame with the Yardbirds and went on to become a solo star who incorporated hard rock, jazz, blues, and even opera into his music. In 2022, he released a collaborative album with his friend Johnny Depp, who was one of the many varied performers, including Luciano Pavarotti, Rod Stewart, Macy Gray, Chrissie Hynde, Joss Stone, Imelda May, and Cyndi Lauper. He worked with over the years. He died aged 78 after suddenly contracting bacterial meningitis, his family said in a statement, with stars including Kiss's Gene Simmons, Queen's Brian May, and Rolling Stone stars Mick Jagger and Ronnie Wood paying tribute.
The actual technique of bending the G string and forming melody, I'm also very close to. And when you're close like that, things happen.
Italian football hero Gianluca Vialli was the son of a self-made millionaire who grew up in a mansion in Lombardy. But money could not buy his natural skill as a footballer. He was best known in the UK for his time with Chelsea, the club for which he scored 40 goals in 88 games between 1996 and 1999. He then became manager, winning the FA Cup with the club in both roles. Following his death, aged 58, tributes described a hugely skilled footballer, but also a beloved man. His former teammate Graham Souness, who played alongside him at Sampdoria, told Sky Sports, "I can't tell you how good a guy he was. Forget football, he was just a gorgeous soul. He was just a truly nice human being."
We've got this affinity and things just happens and you just get on, friends. If you see things the same way, if you've got the same philosophy in life, and with...
As the only child of the king of rock, on roll, Lisa Marie Presley was the sole heir to her father's Graceland estate and seemed destined to a life of music royalty. She went on to have her own career in the spotlight, scoring 2 US top 10 albums, and was famously married to both Michael Jackson and Nicolas Cage. But her life was beset by tragedy, including the loss of her son in 2020. Presley died aged 54 after suffering a cardiac arrest at her home in Calabasas, California, with her mother Priscilla describing her as the most passionate, strong, and loving woman I have ever known.
It took like 5 days to process it, because it was so spot on and authentic. I've done like in a sort of funny, joking way, the way he spoke. Yeah. But Austin actually...
Yorkshire-born actor Julian Sands was best known for his roles in films, including A Room with a View, Arachnophobia, Leaving Las Vegas, and Warlock, as well as TV appearances in 24, Smallville, and Banshee. In the years before his death, he had appeared in one-man stage shows reciting the poetry of Harold Pinter, John Keats, and Percy Shelley. A keen hiker and mountaineer, the 65-year-old was reported missing in January 2023 after he failed to return from a trek in the Mount Baldy region of the San Gabriel Mountains in California. His death was not confirmed until June, when his remains were discovered.
Boys only. So coming to London to go to drama school when I was 18, I think female energy was just a wonderful thing, and still in...
One of the greatest songwriters of the 20th century, Burt Bacharach penned more than 500 tracks, which went on to be performed by more than 1,200 different artists. Across his 7-decade career, remixes and samples of his work kept him in the public consciousness long after he stopped turning out the hits, as did Hollywood's use of many of his tunes in film soundtracks. Over the years, he collaborated or wrote for everyone, from Dionne Warwick and Aretha Franklin to Tom Jones and even Dr. Dre. Bacharach died at the age of 94, with tributes paid by artists of all ages. Rip Maestro wrote Noel Gallagher in his It was a pleasure to have known you.
Till I did the book with Bob Greenfield, and he started to check out. I went to a terrible school, very tall basketball team, tallest basketball team in the world.
Raquel Welch was a Hollywood bombshell whose career spanned more than 50 years, including 30 films and dozens of TV series and appearances. She won a Golden Globe for Best Actress in 1975 for her role in The Three Musketeers and appeared in hit films including Legally Blonde later in her career. The star died aged 82 after a short illness, her management company said, and had been suffering with Alzheimer's disease.
I was lady and all that, but you know, you're not exactly what I expected. And I said, I know I always seem to disappoint people. Pretty intimidating. I always say it's because my shoulders are very broad that I photograph.
De La Soul are regarded as one of the most innovative groups in rap history, and David Jude Gianluca, known as Trugoy the Dove, was one of the founding members, alongside Kelvin Posnuos Mercer and Vincent Mazio Mason. Their debut studio album 3 Feet High and Rising was praised as a light-hearted and positive counterpart to harder rap offerings at the time of its release in 1989. Gianluca, who died at the age of 54, 5 years after revealing he was suffering from congenitive heart failure, also co-wrote songs including Gorillaz' Feel Good Inc. His death came just a month after it was announced that De La Soul's classic back catalog would be made available for digital streaming for the first time.
It's inspiration. You know, what happens every day, absorbing those experiences, because life, so washing dishes can be in a record, you know, having babies could be in a record.
Baroness Betty Boothroyd was the first female Speaker of the House of Commons, modernizing the role by refusing to wear the traditional wig. Born into a working-class family in Dewsbury in 1929, she was introduced to politics at an early age through her mother's membership of the women's section of the Labour Party. She became the Labour MP for West Bromwich in 1973 and for West Bromwich West, when the seat was split the following year, until her retirement in 2000. Following her death at the age of 93, current Speaker of the House Sir Lindsay Hoyle described her as an inspiring woman, an inspirational politician, and someone I was proud to call my friend.
Where I think the steeliness comes in. Give them an inch and then they'll hang themselves, is what I thought. Here I know little about, but I did examine what other artists have done, and I liked the work of Andrew.
Beloved TV star and comedian Paul O'Grady rose to fame thanks to his drag queen persona Lily Savage, but later became a national treasure under his own name too. During his career, he hosted a number of shows including The Paul O'Grady Show, Blind Date and For the Love of Dogs, as well as Blankety Blank in the late 90s under the guise of Savage. He also featured on TV shows such as Doctor Who and Holby City. He was also well known for his love of animals, particularly dogs, having been an ambassador of Battersea Dogs and Cats Home since 2012. He died aged 67 after suffering a sudden cardiac arrhythmia, with everyone from Sir Elton John to the royal family paying tribute.
The moments. I had 6 at one stage. 3 have died. Amish people, you know, that they can't pay the mortgage, so they lose their home. They go into rented accommodation. The landlord.
Jarvis Cocker's Pulp released their first album in 1983, but rose to prominence with their 4th and 5th albums. His On Hers and Different Class in the 1990s. Steve Mackey, who joined in 1988, played bass. In 1995, the group became a late replacement for the Stone Roses to headline that year's Glastonbury Festival and went on to play one of the most memorable sets in the event's history. In 2011, following a break, their comeback Secret Set drew one of the biggest crowds ever to the festival's park stage. Steve made things happen, the band said in tribute as they announced his death at the age of 56. In his life, I in the band.
He says the same thing in between songs every night, and it's dispiriting. I believe that you should just say to London at the end of the 80s, I thought that was the end of the group, you know, it was my kind of childhood.
Mystic Meg, whose real name was Margaret Lake, was the UK's most famous astrologist, a regular feature on Saturday night TV with the National Lottery show in the 1990s, when she would appear with her crystal ball to predict who would win the weekly jack. She also wrote daily horoscopes for the Sun newspaper for almost 23 years. Her horoscopes and clairvoyant messages captured the imagination of the public, and she received huge amounts of correspondence, including from angry Manchester United fans after she correctly predicted their team would lose to Everton in the FA Cup final in 1995. She died aged 80 after being admitted to hospital while suffering with flu.
I'd like to see.
Yeah. I know
Frank Bruno
at first glance we're not very alike, but one thing that will shock the Palace is that she's going to go on American TV.
Sincere thanks to all the loyal viewers who have watched this entire video. If you enjoyed this content and would like to show your support, please click the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with your friends. Your support truly means a lot to us. Stay tuned for more interesting then, and now stories coming soon.